The Spanish Announce Table.
It is pro wrestling's best podcast, your favorite podcast, The Spanish Announce Table. It's not going to be your favorite podcast for long because you're going to have a new favorite podcast come next week in the new year, and more on that in a little bit. But Tom, we've got a lot to get into, man. How is Tom before we break down wrestling's week that was?
So much fun wrestling. I tell you what, I have just been doing deep dives on so many things. I saw the Iron Claw movie about the Von Erich brothers. I will be doing a recap, review, whatever. Try to do spoiler free, but obviously if you're a wrestling fan, you kind of know the story. So we're going to try to get that up on the new social media platforms. And since then, I have just been going all in on like late 80s, early 90s wrestling. Like today, I watched the dog collar match between Greg the Hammer well, he wasn't the Hammer. Greg Valentine, U.S. champion, and Rowdy Piper. It doesn't hold up, but it was fun. It was fun. The finish is yikes. But yeah, so I've been watching a lot of classic wrestling. I think I was even sharing with you. It's like some of the stuff is just, man, the thing in wrestling, quick side note, we'll get back on track. The thing with wrestling that's missing for me, when you watch late 80s, early 90s, is there was more spontaneous combustion. There was fight, refs getting in between. Because like if you watch a street fight, it is not, it's a lot of pushing, getting, well, fuck you. Well, come on, let's do this. And then it's again into the stuff. And those matches had that. It was fun to see. So
it's more realistic.
Maybe next year in the New Year's or the Dear Santa, I'll do a wish list for that item because well, shit, we got to break this up because it's getting too real. Okay, well then, all right, now let's try to wrestle. We'll lock up and stuff like that. So just having a blast really with pro wrestling right now. And I tell you what, AEW last night, which we're going to get into a little bit, was so much fun. I don't think I've had, I mean, we've got our year-end awards. And it was hard to do match of the year because I was a prisoner of the moment. I almost said, spoiler alert, I didn't say this, but I almost said Eddie Kingston, Bryan Danielson from last night. That fucking match just ruled on all levels, Tim. But that's me. What about you? What are you up to?
We've done a lot of Christmas stuff, right? We went back to Manhattan, Kansas, the hometown, visited some friends of the family, stayed there kind of for the evening, right, with a big family Christmas party, if you will. And then came back here, did all the Christmas stuff. We're going to do something, the wife and I, for New Year's. It's been a few years because, family situations, kids are what they are, but now they're of age where one's over 18, one's 17. So it's like, listen, we're going to go out and do something. What that is, I don't know. We're old now, so that's going to be an interesting take. She said, let's go do something. I said, what do you want to do? She goes, I don't know, as long as we're in by 9. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we are going to be taking the niece and nephew to a New Year's Eve game at the Missouri Mavericks. Just watching some hockey because obviously, as you guys know, biggest revelation from 2023. I'm a hockey guy. You know what I mean? Whatever. Icing.
Cracking up.
Yeah. Cracking up, baby. Defend the deep. That's what we say with the Seattle Kraken. So yeah, we're doing that on New Year's Eve. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
New Year's Eve was always, New Year's Eve was always like a holiday where it was like 8th grade to like junior year was the shit. And then after that, it kind of just got downhill every so often. And then 21, and then it peaked back up. And then 21, 22, and then it goes back down. And now, it's fine.
Once you hit your 30s, I feel like New Year's Eve, you're kind of like, oh yeah, but do I really want to stay up that late? You know what I mean? Like it's got to be. We got to have some cool shit going on. There's got to be a lot of stuff planned for the evening. I'm not just like, hey, let's go hang out at a random bar while we all wait for several hours for the clock. Yeah. It's like, I can drink at home, man, if we're going to do that. Like, I don't need all that.
Yeah, bar is never fun for New Year's Eve. For me, house party is the way to go because house party, when you were single, was easier to get the New Year's Eve kiss. And so, bars, I just felt like were just too much.
Stay home and get that too,
Well, but I'm saying if you're single, you gotta go somewhere. House party over bars. That's what it is. So.
Oh, absolutely. Totally house party over bars. And almost, so many situations, but specifically New Year's Eve. But it's got to be a good house party. I, for one, happen to grow up in a college town, Kansas State University. Won their bowl game tonight. Spoiler alert, that's why we started late. Sorry, Tom.
Oh, good.
Yeah, right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, a lot of house parties. Lot of house parties, and I agree. House party is over bars. Maybe that's the episode title. But we've got a lot to get into. It is 2023. It is the year that was wrestling. So not only do I have a year in review for you, a catch up on the things that happened in pro wrestling, some good, some bad. We've got a year-end awards where we're going to give out an awards. If you listen to our almost mid-year awards, you'll know the categories. And we've also got what else have we got here, Tom? We've got a year-end awards. We got
World's End picks.
World's End picks.
Because I don't want to wear this fucking bullshit anymore.
Yes,
I'm tired of
that
wearing
shirt.
this. It's yours.
Oh, Jeffrey Sills is in the chat. He's going to love this. He says, "What up, boys?" with 4 Z's. Shout out to the best tag team since the Sex Gods. The C2 needs to be an annual thing, and next year, put a shot for the big belt and the main event match it all in. He says, "Shout out to the Wildcats. Darren Sproles and them boys." Yes, Darren Sproles was.
Sproles was a Olathe kid. He was
he was
more
a local
than
Olathe
that.
kid.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I remember watching his high school games because he was a little older than I was. So I remember thinking legitimately, like when I was going to like try out for high school football, I remember watching him I think it was Olathe North. They all have the fucking directions out there in Kansas. You guys is Kansas.
Yeah, it's all north, east, west.
Yeah, north, east, south, central. Fuck you. Come up with some names. But I think it was Olathe North. And I remember watching him play and I was like, well, then I can do this. Like I can play football if he's getting up. Because that was my biggest thing. In 8th grade, we're all kind of the same size. When you're 14 and a 18-year-old's going to tackle you, that's some shit you got to really make sure you want to do. And so I remember watching him and I was like, well, if he's getting up, then I'm going to do it. And so I tried out for freshman football because of him. Hell yeah. Good job, Darren Sproles.
Nice.
And NFL legend, Eagles legend. Like he had a hell of a career in the NFL.
100%.
You know what I mean?
He's had one of the most recent better long-term careers from a K-Stater that I can name right now is Darren Sproles. There's some O-linemen that had some good careers. But at any rate, this isn't a football podcast. It's a pro wrestling podcast. And we here at the Spanish Announce Table have some news, right? We broke the news that we're going to be doing a rebrand. And so now I think it's time to lay it out on the table, guys. Starting with next week's show in 2024, we are going to be the All Elite wrap up. We decided we focus mainly on All Elite Wrestling. The Spanish Announce Table reference was great 11 years ago when we started this show. Everybody got it. It was a great laugh. People told us that is the most amazing name for a show. Why didn't I think of that? You guys are geniuses, and they weren't wrong. But now we tell people the Spanish Announce Table, and people are like, what is that? And it's not worth it anymore, I don't think.
Well, and also one of our, agenda items for 2024 and moving forward is to expand the audience because we have so much fun talking to Jeffrey Sills and all other Jeffreys that seems to interact with us on YouTube. We want to talk to some people with other names. And to do that, we thought we need to be more focused on what we really want to talk about. And when you tell someone who isn't a wrestling fan and they say, what is All Elite, then we can easily say All Elite Wrestling. And it's an easier transition to, well, what's a Spanish Announce Table? Are you guys Spanish? Is this a Spanish language podcast? Which, by the way, plenty of our guests have asked. And that's how I think we honestly got Damian Priest when he was Punishment Martinez. So who cares? Got it. So yeah, we're going to be All Elite wrap up. As I've mentioned a couple of times as we've geared up towards this rebrand, we are not afraid to talk about WWE or GCW, assuming you want to hear that, right? Obviously, Nick Gage is still GCW Nick motherfucking Gage.
Love it.
We know he's going to do some cool shit in 2024. We're probably going to talk about it. So don't feel like if you have some take or question for us about the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, GCW Homecoming, whatever it is, you guys can still talk to us about that.
Yeah.
But we want to let non-listeners know when they're walking in the door, kind of what we're focused in.
Yeah. And you'll see when some of the imagery comes out and some of the branding. Jeffrey Sills says, I still want that black Spanish Announce Table long sleeve. We may still work in the Spanish Announce Table in some ways, right? We're still going to pay homage to the Spanish announce table. There will still be masks involved in some of the imagery and stuff like that. We don't want to get too far away from it. Jeffrey Sills also says, I love the name of your show. It's what got me into watching it, but I do like the new name. So, I don't know if is there a long sleeve available? We might need to find a way to make one available for him. Yeah, we'll figure it out. But, so we may still work that in, but yes, All Elite wrap up. That way it kind of, it just ties together. It's going to go after our core audience a little bit better, and we'll continue to grow this community. So look for that. We do have some of the stuff already built. The threads, I believe, is all_elite_ wrap up is what I told you, Tom, is the new threads. So look for that. We have allelitewrap-up.com bot. It is in motion to go live. It's currently not live yet, as last I checked, so be looking for that in the next coming days. As well as, we'll have the Substack and the podcast that you can subscribe to. We'll make sure you know where those are. We'll also leave links on and little comments on this feed here to make sure you know where to go so you won't get lost. But you can always reach out to us. tableshow@gmail.com is still up and running, still fail-safe. If you go, where'd you guys go? I can't find you. I'll send you every link you need.
Long sleeve unisex t-shirts are available at Pro Wrestling Tees. First off, search Spanish announce table, and then on type of garment.
I think it wasn't black with the white logo. I think.
Oh, well, okay. All right there, pal. You talk to Tim, he'll hook you up, but the Pro Wrestling Tees.
We might be able to get creative, but we can probably work something in, and maybe we work it in creatively some way. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, there you go.
More to follow. But we'll be the All Elite wrap up. Does sound a little more generic than the Spanish announce table. I will give you that, Jeffrey Sills, but hopefully you still would have tuned in when you saw our hilarious and just keen insights into pro wrestling.
Yeah, and again, we want to, for example, here's where some of the genesis came from, is I have relatives who were wanting to buy t-shirts. They didn't feel comfortable as a white male wearing a shirt that said Spanish announce table, not being a wrestling fan. So they're like, I don't want it. And so then I was like, well, that is true to a certain extent. So that's kind of where and also
my boss, he bought one, and he said, he told me the story. He's like, but he had to explain it, and he had to tell him what the reference is. And I'm like, I bet that was awkward and not fun for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So then the next time, you're picking out a t-shirt, you might look at it and go, not tonight. Not tonight. We're going to go with something else. Right. And again, the other thing that I think is the main focus is, specifically for me, I'll speak for myself, and then Tim, if you want to agree, by all means. But I want people to know what we're talking about here. Again, I am not afraid. If you want to know my pick for Royal Rumble winner, I'll give it to you. But I'm gonna be honest with you, fuck them. So that's what it is.
But people instantly, when they're scrolling the social media and they see our clip or whatever, they're gonna know much more instantly what we're doing here than this, right? They don't have to get into it like you all have, and we love you, and we hope there's more of you to come. Jeffrey Todd is in the chat now. Again, we're big with Jeffs. Like Jeffrey Jarrett. Like Tom, excuse me, is wearing the Jeff Jarrett. I said Todd.
Look at that. Yeah, right. Tim, you will be wearing this. Yeah, look at that. A little Freudian slip. Yeah. You will be wearing this.
Jeffrey Sill says, I live in South Florida, so wearing a Spanish announce table t-shirt would only give me high fives. And like I said, we're still going to work the Spanish announce table. We'll find a way to have some of that still, there's plenty of homage and it still lives on.
Well, and that shirt ain't going away. That shirt isn't going to be taken down. So by all means, buy the shirt. It still comes to us.
Yeah, I got to talk to Pro Wrestling Tees about our rebrand and see how that works. But whenever we have up a merch somewhere, you'll be able to buy a Spanish announce table t-shirt.
1,000,000%. But Tim, that is all coming ahead in 2024. But before we get there, we got to talk about 2023. And as you mentioned, we got some awards. So before we tell you all what we loved, why don't we tell you what happened?
Yeah, we got to tell you what happened. A quick kind of review of the big things. And I'm talking some things are news, some things are storyline based, some things are what I'll go through first here, a little more sour note. We kind of touch on this every year. Let's review on who we lost this year, Tom, right? Because there were some names here, right? Big ones like Bray Wyatt, right? That one kind of shocked everybody, took everyone for a loss. Can I
tell you a quick side story? So, my brother lives in Florida and he came up for Christmas. He's in town. He came in on 26th. He leaves on Sunday. His wife went to high school with Bray Wyatt. They were like good friends. And because Florida, as Jeffrey Sills knows, because he's in South Florida, there's not a lot of space. So you see a lot of the same people a lot of the time. Bray Wyatt's daughter was on the same cheer team as my brother's
Yeah.
daughter. And they would say that they would always talk. It was always in a cheer, format. So my brother was never going to be like, hey, my brother has a podcast. Would you go? And I
Right.
never wanted him to do it. They always said how much of a sweetheart guy he was, always kind of standoffish. If anyone would ask him a question, he would always, take a picture or answer the question or whatever, but he wasn't there like move my seat is second row. He was none of that stuff.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, we actually talked about that
Didn't
today.
pull up in the Lambo and get,
Exactly.
Right.
And the one thing that my sister-in-law said is his name is so cool. Why did he go by a different one? She always thought Wyndham Rotunda was a better wrestling name than Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, because unfortunately, it's a little heavy in the wrestling, so I got to get away from it. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Bray Wyatt lost. That one really was shocking. Terry Funk we lost, and Terry Funk, I think it's pointed to point out like why he was such a big loss is he's on a lot of wrestlers' Mount Rushmore, right? We all ask like, who's your favorites of all time? Who's your Mount Rushmore? When you ask a wrestler that, a lot of times that name Terry Funk comes up.
Yeah, he's awesome. I have 3 different versions of Terry Funk. I got him all pretty set up, so I don't want to grab them, but I got 3 different versions of Terry Funk. That should tell you how much I love him. But yeah, I would describe Terry Funk as that classic, when rappers always say this, I'm your rapper's favorite rapper. Terry Funk was your wrestler's favorite wrestler, your favorite wrestler's 100%. Favorite wrestler. Yeah, he was amazing. Absolutely love Terry Funk. As I was mentioning, going back and watching all these old matches, like I'm going across the globe. I'm watching New Japan, All Japan, NWA, World Class, Mid South. I'm watching all early WCW Saturday Night, all the stuff.
Terry Funk, make some content about that. Just comment on these old matches.
Terry Funk, though, is a fucking different human in almost every match. He's like the clean cut. Hey, I'm NWA champ. And then he's like, I got my brother Dory. We're going to go up against Bruiser Brody. And then he's like, I got a flamethrower. What the fuck's happening?
Slightly different, but what is this I said to you the other day where I sent you a picture of Batista and I was like, Batista never looks the same way twice. Like every time you see Batista, he looks different from the last time you saw Batista.
Now his is a little bit of different reasons, but yeah, with Terry Funk, his was just he was just the best. Yeah. Dusty sucks eggs. I mean, there's so many iconic things. We could do a whole podcast just about Terry Funk matches. But yeah, he was a big one. Big one there.
Terry Funk wrap up. And a little more rapid fire on the rest of these just so we don't do it, but we can talk about any of them individually you want here. But we lost Jay Briscoe, the Iron Sheik, Billy Graham, Bushwhacker Butch, Draws, Lanny Poffo, Jerry Jarrett, and Mantar. Man, that Jay Briscoe one comes to mind. That one was also just again, we always talk about, too many wrestlers die early, but when it's something like that where it's just like car crash, which again is a high leading cause of death, like a lot of people die that way, but like it always feels so needless, right? Like you're always like, man, like this, you know what I mean? Just
and also selfishly from a pro wrestling standpoint only, is, his last match was the double dog collar match against FTR, which is considered arguably the greatest dog collar match of all time, arguably the greatest Ring of Honor match of all time, which has, a million other classics, which I've been watching as well. So yeah, it was also a gut punch in that way because, you never want it to be this way, but typically when you hear of wrestler deaths, it's, oh man, I haven't thought of fill in the name in so long. With Jay Briscoe, it was like, I'm still on this high.
Still cheering this guy.
Yeah, a couple of months ago when this match happened. So that's the other thing.
He was always one of my, if you were to ask who's your like guilty favorite, even though I wouldn't call it guilty, but like if you were like, who's the person who like, you wouldn't say best wrestler, but like one of the people who you like pop for most when they come out, Jay Briscoe would have been on that list, dude. Like every time I saw Jay Briscoe, I was like, fuck yeah, like I don't know what it was, just because I maybe knew 1,000 guys like Jay Briscoe, you know what I mean, growing up. He was just so real. He just felt so real.
Terry Funk didn't wear no mouthpiece. Bruce Brody didn't wear no mouthpiece. Oh, and then they shoot the gun off. He's like, God damn. Yeah, their promos were amazing. Everything. We'll talk about it as you kind of go to the one shot of Eddie Kingston, where we say like, I don't know if Eddie Kingston knows that this is a work. I kind of feel the same way about the Briscoes, right? You're like, hey, are you? We're all on the same, because they're just so believable. That's what made them, obviously both of them together amazing, and obviously individually awesome as well.
I mean, and Iron Sheik obviously was such a mainstream crossover appeal to wrestling.
Twitter.
Iron Sheik, Billy Graham was your favorite wrestler growing up. Was trying to imitate Billy Graham in many ways.
Hulk Hogan, all of them, yeah.
Draws that scenario. Lanny Poffo, a key point you brought up when Lanny Poffo died was you thought there also dies a lot of the stories of Macho Man. He was sort of the storyteller that we had left.
He was the caretaker of the Macho Man's legacy. And so with that also goes him. And with him, I also want to say, you know, the Genius was a fantastic character when he would accompany Mr. Perfect to the ring and read these scribes with the you know, big double-sided whatever they're called, you know, like the Roman Empire stuff. Yeah, he was amazing as far as
I even liked when he was leaping, Lanny, he would read off the frisbees for no reason.
Yeah.
So fantastic. And Jerry Jarrett, I mean, you know, Jeff Jarrett sucks, but Jerry Jarrett's influence on wrestling is huge. Like he was going to be the guy if McMahon would have went up the river on steroids.
And obviously if you read into it, you'll find out, but Jerry Jarrett also referenced in the Iron Claw movie that I just saw. So that was also interesting from a pro wrestling standpoint as well. Very influential. His territory with Jerry Lawler was, you know, infamous in so many things that are still carried on in pro wrestling today. So yeah, another guy with a huge influence and unfortunately just an absolute shit son.
Not great. How's that shirt? Itching? Itching?
Yeah.
Get a rash.
I feel like I'm about to commit a fraud.
It somehow smells like gasoline and urine even after you wash it. It's weird. I don't know.
It's it smells like bounced checks and fucking cars taking off before the conversation's over.
And Febreze. All right, so those were the deaths this year, and we lost a lot of true talent, as I saw somebody say here in the chat. Forgive me who you were, but let's talk about some other things that happened, right? Again, these are some news, some storylines. We're just going to talk about kind of what the year was, not necessarily in any chronological order here, right? But maybe in some order of maybe importance in some regards. CM Punk returned to AEW after the infamous Brawl-Out incident, ushering in the Collision era, complete with a soft brand split to accommodate tense working relationships, only for Punk to be fired for cause. Following incident at All In Wembley, Punk would then do the once unthinkable and return to WWE at Survivor Series. Clearly one of the biggest stories in wrestling in years, let alone this year, and still sort of unfolding as you know what I mean, how this will ultimately play out. Probably will go out with a whimper, but CM Punk was certainly the topic du jour of 2023 in many ways.
What a fucking fraud. What a fucking fraud. That's all I can think about with him. He is the biggest fucking puff your chest out. I'm the fucking thing that I'm going to tell you about that's wrong with everything. Oh, wait, you want to give me money? Hey, I'm back home. Fuck you. You walked around the AEW locker room because you thought because the only guys there were pro wrestlers and not real tough guys that you could fucking boom your shoulders around and make everyone yield to your fucking power. And then finally, when they say, get the fuck out of here, you had to crawl back and say, I'm coming home. I want to be home. Remember when I said this place made me sick and I sued the doctor? I want to come home. And
talked about blood covered dicks and whatnot.
Blood money. Going to Saudi Arabia.
Blood money covered, right?
Yeah, which I hope you have that fucking awesome match with Finn Balor in Saudi Arabia, you fucking fraud. Like, you're just the most you are Aaron Rodgers of pro wrestling. You are the fucking person who stands on a pedestal acting as if everyone is the one that is you are the one that everyone is trying to pull down when really you're the one stepping on everyone's head to get to that top position.
Why is everybody talking about me and looking at me? It's because you won't shut up and won't get out of the way. We would prefer not to, but you won't let us. And I get mad about that, and specifically also with a guy like Aaron Rodgers, is because I believe you're aware of that, and you know that, right? So it also bothers me more that this is a game, and you're just playing it, man. Also in 2023, this was not in my notes, but somebody asked here, was the Iron Claw any good? The Iron Claw came out. I haven't seen it, but Tom, you said you cried even, and not because it was bad. It was really good.
No, it's fantastic. It's not. Here's what I'll say. I'm gonna do a review, hopefully this week or maybe after the Christmas time is over. It's hard to. It's fantastic. It's worth your time. As a pro wrestling fan, it's doubly worth your time. If you weren't a pro wrestling fan, I'd still say it's worth your time, just as a movie by itself. But with all that being said, like, it's not fun. So don't, like, you're not going to be like, woo, woo. It is you're in it. Like, you're fucking in it, and you're in it until the last scene. And that last scene, there's a line in there, mother of God. I fucking bawled my eyes out. Like, to the point where I drove to the movie with my wife and I almost asked her to drive home because I couldn't fucking see anything. Like, and I have a brother. So I will say this, if you're an only child, it might be not as bad. I have step siblings, a step brother, since I was like 2. So it's basically a brother. You know what I'm saying? If you have relatives, you better pray before you go see it. It might wreck you for a few days. But yeah, it was fantastic. The only criticism I have, and this is super weird to say, whoever they got to play Ric Flair was the fucking worst.
Oh, I heard that was bad. Yeah, I heard that was bad.
Fucking worst.
Yeah,
that's
I heard
the
that was
only
bad.
thing that's bad with it. Everything else is nitpicky, but the one, like, middle finger that I would give the whole fucking movie is that Ric Flair. That's it. That's it.
That sucks.
Anyhow,
that sucks.
But yeah, it was amazing though.
Yeah, well, if you use our promo code at your Stubbs AMC.com, see how easy this would be, AMC? We could be promoting you. If anybody wants to advertise, hit us up as we start the All Elite wrap-up next year. Anyway, back to the 2023 year in review. Vince McMahon flexed his muscle to regain power in WWE after he was forced to retire and used that power to head the sale of the company in what is listed as a merger with Endeavor to create a new company that would control both the WWE and UFC brands. Stephanie McMahon resigned from WWE thereafter, and Triple H remains active and is publicly acknowledged now as being solely in charge.
Isn't that great? Creative. Isn't that great? The motherfucker who was in the inner circle of Vince McMahon's decision-making, and let's not be kidding ourselves, most likely knew of the actions of his father-in-law, because that's the other thing. He went to his fucking house for holidays. It wasn't like they just had a working relationship. All of a sudden, that guy gets promoted, and we ask no fucking questions of him. We got Tony Khan hanging by a fucking spike telling us, give us details of a fight that you didn't see because you were actually at a press conference. Give us those details, you fucking lying cocksucker. Meanwhile, Triple H is over here. Let's not be fucking dumb, knowingly knew all the fucking things Vince McMahon did and go, but we got new creative. Isn't this great? That's why that fucking company sucks. It's because all of those brain neutral idiots over there just wanted something that satisfied them, never have fucking wanted to know really what's going on with the company. But because the story you want to know, because Dave Meltzer talks about it, that guy isn't going to tell you because there's NDAs and actual legal agreements. That's the asshole, because he won't tell you stuff. Oh, and by the way, he does coke. This motherfucker over here probably knew that his father-in-law was a rapist, and we don't say shit about it. So fuck all those people.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Tom's wrong. AEW's All In at Wembley was a huge success and appears to now be a yearly event. The event is now highly disputed as being the largest attended event in pro wrestling history.
Yeah, that was good. That was a great event.
All In. It was.
I liked it a lot, yeah.
WWE's Backlash in Puerto Rico was also a huge success that also saw the return of Carlito to WWE. That was another big event. I like that one. Yeah, I remember he was there briefly. Like him and Savio came in during the big LWO spot. Then the real return of Carlito came months later, but it sort of spearheaded.
He's there?
That. Yeah,
he's
there
the
now.
Company?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who knew? I mean, so obviously.
Look, I haven't watched it, whatever, but I heard he was there. So if I'm wrong, I'm going off of what I saw. Bryan Danielson announced that he plans to end his full-time wrestling work in 2024.
Here's the thing. I'll just say this real quick.
Nah,
I don't think so. Look, is he going to be there every week? No. Don't be shocked. I would never be shocked if next year he becomes AEW champion, because I don't think you can have a guy like him retire and then he's in your company for 3 years and he was never your champion.
We've never seen that in wrestling ever. Yeah.
So.
NXT announced they will move networks to the CW in October 2024.
That's another business side story. Well, that's another business side story that I'm very interested in, because I don't know where the fuck they're getting all their money. They're buying rights to like the ACC. They got NXT. They're doing some other big buys. out of the blue too. That fucking frog jumped into some money or something, and now he's buying everything up. Remember that CW frog?
Yeah, the CW frog. Yeah, I remember that. Miro returned to AEW after a lengthy absence, but this time his wife CJ Perry is also in AEW.
Got a match at World's End that we'll talk about.
Yeah. All right, Jey Uso left the Bloodline and is a 100% certified singles main eventer.
I will give him this. I obviously do not watch WWE, but because of suggested posts on all social media platforms, which I wish would go away. When he does this fucking hand gesture thing, like everyone up and down, the whole crowd does it. Like, so he is over. He's fucking doing this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeet is something that he likes to say. Yeah, sure. So yeah, he seems fun. He seems fun. I'll say that.
Jade Cargill left AEW and is now in WWE, I guess.
Oh, yeah. And look at that fucking skyrocket to the point where Triple H said, we got to teach her everything again because she sucks, because she was trained by Bryan Danielson, the greatest pro wrestler of all time, arguably. Yeah, no, we got to retrain her to look at the hard cam. Fuck out of here. You guys are so stupid.
Cody Rhodes failed to finish the story.
Good. Fuck him. Cornball Cody doesn't need any fucking story written about him or finished. That fucking nerd who won the Royal Rumble and then went through a fucking 3 month of no one's in my way. Isn't this fun? And then these fucking dum-dums were like, he should beat Roman. Why? What adversity did he overcome? Nothing. He's fucking nerd and keeps wearing that fucking Superman outfit, get up. I'm so happy he's not in AEW. Such a fucking
when did he become
ball.
Captain America with the Eagles?
I don't know, but it's not. But it's not a Captain America. It's some other thing like on Prime or something. There's a character, but he is such a fucking cornball.
No, but I just mean, with all he's all red, white, and blue everything anymore.
Oh yeah, he solved racism. Remember when he beat Anthony?
That's
Ogogo?
true. That's right. He did solve racism with that speech. That's right.
Yeah, he solved racism, and then he beat the Englishman. So you got to do that.
He solved racism because his dad was Dusty Rhodes, if I remember correctly.
Yes. And also, it was so important that we knew he was having a girl that they took up 2 hours they took up television time on a 2-hour program just to fucking tell you that someone's having a baby and it's going to be a girl. 50-50 chance. It's either boy or girl. So fucking crazy, right? If it would have said octopus, I would have been interested, but fucking who cares if it's girl? God, it's just so dumb. Now, here's what I wanted to say, though. He is an awesome wrestler. He does have very, very good matches. His last match in AEW was Sammy Guevara, that ladder match, outstanding. Matches with Andrade, his brother, all of that. I'm not saying he's a bad wrestler. I'm saying his character is fucking trash. Cornball Cody.
Yeah, I don't think he's worth a damn. Yeah, you're right. Like, the wrestling's fine. The stories are fine. Matches are good. But the stories, like, getting there have all been nauseating. And I've always felt the feeling of he really wants everybody to view him as that everyman hero like they viewed his dad. And we just don't, dude. You're fine, you're cool, but you're the star quarterback with the silver spoon. We still like that guy some ways, but not the way where, like, we want to root against all of your troubles. You know what I mean? Like, we don't really...
Actually, you know what? I view him differently. I think he's the guy cosplaying as, hey guys, I was an executive. Hey, you know what? I make decisions here. Let me tell you some road stories. He wants to be this like grizzled old veteran that's been up in the roads 900 times because his dad did it. And it's like, brother, you're fine. You are okay. But like, cut the shit. Stop wearing the fucking suits like someone. God, fucking, why would you wear a suit when it's not required? You fucking nerd. I've never understood that. Why would you want a fucking noose around your neck if it's not required of you to do that? But that's just secondary comment. But yeah, I've always thought he was like, hey guys, I'm important. I've always been like, you're mid. You're mid, you know? Yeah.
Adam Copeland left WWE and debuted in AEW. More to come on that as we discuss our picks. The Judgment Day became the main focus of the Raw brand in 2023, which is,
sure,
you know, Sting announced he will finally fully retire in 2024.
Man, I'm getting my heart ready. I'm putting a wall around my heart so I don't cry again. I tell you that much.
Roman Reigns is still the Universal Champion despite having wrestled less than a dozen times.
He's wrestled less than Sting in 2023. That's a fact.
Interesting. Will Ospreay signed with AEW. That happened. Logan Paul won the WWE United States title in 2023. That happened.
Did he?
Yeah. Yep.
Who'd he beat?
I don't know. I saw it happen, and I saw it on the list. Was it somebody in the chat could tell us? Somebody's gonna have to let us know in the chat what happened there on the United States title. Tony Storm became timeless.
Oh, I love it. And then the AMC with Ben Mankiewicz. Oh my, that might be my favorite moment. Ben Mankiewicz introducing Timeless Storm. I don't know. I don't fucking. I didn't know. But Timeless Tony Storm doing all the stuff, the black and white. They fucked it up again on Dynamite, but still
Rey
great.
Mysterio. Rey Mysterio, Jeffy Todd said. Did he beat Rey Mysterio? That sounds right.
Sure.
That sounds right. Like Christian Cage became Father of the Year in one of my favorite stories going.
Awesome.
Love it. John Cena and The Rock returned to WWE during the SAG-AFTRA writer strike, which way to support the fucking writers, guys. And Ronda Rousey left WWE and wrestled for ROH. AEW introduced the Continental Classic with a new cross-promotional multinational Triple Crown on the line. And MJF and Adam Cole had a bromance for the ages. LA Knight got over as fuck. Yeah. And Eddie Kingston won his first major world title, defeating his arch nemesis Claudio Castagnoli to win the ROH world title at Grand Slam. A lot of big things happened this year, man.
Yeah, it was a big year. I would say, obviously, the Vince McMahon CM Punk thing were probably the two juggernauts of stories. And honestly, not to make it a story kind of thing, but the unfortunate losses of a Bray Wyatt, Jay Briscoe, Terry Funk, I think those would probably be the three spearheaded stories of the year that if you look back, 5 years from now.
Yeah. But that was sort of the year in view to kind of catch us up. And so now we can kind of get into some of our year-end awards. We kept this short. We got like 6 awards, right? But we each did them. I think you only did the mid-year yourself, but I chimed in on this one. So
let's hear it.
Yeah, I'm excited for these. You ready to go? Do you have a specific order you want to do these in?
I'll follow your order, but let's just do a little ping pong because I don't think we got a lot of the same. So
no. Well, who do you have for entrance of the year?
So at my half-year awards, I went with Mini-Men, and it was the Guns walking out to that song. I thought it was spectacular. It was for the World Championships. If FTR lost and they were going to leave AEW, the story had all of the makings of just fucking awesomeness. We hated the Guns, and then they fucking knew that we knew and came out to that song. Fucking awesome. As I was reviewing, though, I believe I was a little bit prisoner of the moment. Because after a 10th or 12th viewing, I'm going with Bad Bunny in Puerto Rico Backlash. When you have a whole fucking island, it feels like singing your song, not someone else's, your song. And there are people like in tears, husbands and wives hugging each other as you're walking out. You haven't even wrestled yet. And it's already a moment. That fucking Zoom, camera that they had, fucking awesome. So I'm going with Bad Bunny Puerto Rico Backlash.
So
I think that's it.
I had that one penciled in from the start as I was reviewing other possibilities, right? I was like, all right, what else happened? Got to refresh my memory because, I remember seeing it. Again, I didn't watch that event live, but I heard about this entrance and thought, wow, right, after watching it. And watched it again, and sure enough. And so I was going through some other ones. And the reason I'm pushing this one down to my honorable mention and giving you another name is because, yes, the whole island is there. They're singing the song. But Bad Bunny and the entrance he provided itself, not really much there, right?
Yeah.
So to contrast that, Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania 39 showed up in a paddy wagon and was led in handcuffs by cops wearing his dad's mask to the thunderous boos of seemingly an island. I'm going to give the edge there because that was just, and he lived every moment of that. He looked every bit as douchey as he ever could. And that's really when he was really starting to like figure out how to use this hatred that everybody had for him, right? Oh,
yeah. He was
me,
also
I'm just
wearing
like that.
the mask.
Yeah, he's wearing the mask.
Rey Mysterio, who he's going to wrestle. It wasn't as if it was just like, oh, I found
just
the
to wear.
thing. Like he's going to wrestle. Yeah.
That performance of an entrance to me was the best of the year.
I'll give you that. Yeah, that was a great one. That is in the top 3.
Yeah,
and again,
that Bad Bunny moment.
Yeah. That felt, and I think the reason why I went with it after the last time I viewed it is it almost, not to get too big of like, but it almost felt like it transcended wrestling just a little bit. Like it felt like, yeah, wrestling's cool here, but what we're really celebrating is one of our own being the biggest star in the world right now. So, it was really good.
Jeffrey Sills in the chat says Jade Cargill with her sorority was fire too. Yeah.
Pretty girls walk like this. Yeah. Oh, she was great.
Good stuff. All right. So male wrestler of the year. I guess I'll go first on this one because I think anybody who's watched this show knows I'm going to answer MJF with this one, right? And it's not just because I'm fanboying over him, but I think he checks every box at an elite level, right? His matches, his storylines, his storytelling in a match, his use of crowd work, his microphone. I think everything he does at an elite level, and I don't think there's many people you could say that about. And the year he had with the title run, the current storyline he's leading now is one of the most like whodunit, bated breath things I've seen in a while. So I'm going with MJF.
Me too, 100%. And the reason why he went over other people who I also considered is when we were talking about the Wembley All-In pay-per-view, friendship wins. Name a pay-per-view where friendship wins. Credit to Adam Cole as well. But MJF, let's be honest, made the story, right? Adam Cole was a good straight guy, but MJF was the comedic and kind of emotional roller coaster that we were following. And for him to not do let's do a heel turn because that's what pro wrestling is, and just go like, nope, we're doubling down on that friendship wins. To have the guts to do that at the biggest show of all time. And then, like you said, having the devil storyline. Also throughout this year, he did I'm the biggest heel in this company. I'm the biggest babyface in this company. And he did it seamlessly. I don't think anyone else in 2023 could do that.
So who else did you consider? Because I considered Orange Cassidy and Gunther. The only thing knocking them is, again, the storylines they were able to like tell weren't a whole lot there, right? It was just Gunther chops the shit out of everybody. And what are you going to do about it? But it was a several hundred day, reign. It's the longest Intercontinental title reign. And then kind of crossing that, kind of almost the same with Orange Cassidy with the international title run. And the like, how can he keep going like this, right? Till his body just gave up, basically. So I thought they had really big spots. But again, just kind of a level below that sort of like, but also the Tonight Show kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. The prisoner of the moment pick, I almost went with Swerve Strickland. I think someone who kind of went from nothing being, in a casket at All In to now having everyone want him to be a world champion in 4 or 5 months or however long this has been. The match that he had with Hangman, which maybe we'll be talked about later, I considered Swerve Strickland. I also considered Jon Moxley because Jon Moxley has been, he says he's the ace of the world, bitch. And it's kind of hard to be like, you're not. And so because of that, it feels like maybe you just say it's Jon Moxley,
Jeffrey Sills offering up Bryan Danielson. Said every match he had was amazing. That 4 weeks of matches he had to get to MJF was awesome. Bandito, Thatcher, Takeshita, Roosh, and then MJF Our Man match, Iron Man match thing he meant to say. Then every match in the Continental Classic he had was 4.5 stars and above. Danielson can go.
Oh, and if you follow, I assume people who are watching or listening do follow AEW social medias, platforms, but the promos he's cutting when he's meditating, he comes out of it. He fucking cried last night. I sent you the promo.
Man, I didn't watch it yet.
But
great.
My God.
I gotta see this. I gotta see it.
Good. So fucking even the promo he had after he lost to MJF when he's like, maybe I should go away, and we thought like, fuck, maybe Bryan Danielson's gone right now, was outstanding. Yeah. Strong candidate, Bryan Danielson, 1,000,000%. But again, the reason I'm going MJF is the transcendent guts to take on the biggest show to say, we're going to go away from a wrestling trope. And let's be honest, AEW this year has been the MJF show. Like, I know we had CM Punk and all that stuff, but television wise, not all that bullshit that we don't care about what we're watching. It's the MJF is the main character.
All right. So if you're going with a female wrestler of the year, who is it?
So this one was hard because, and I'm not trying to be difficult or rude, but unlike past years where you could have said like Becky Lynch, because it was just like, holy shit, this juggernaut of a gimmick is getting over. I didn't feel like anything was too strong this year, if I'm being honest. And so this one may be a prisoner of the moment. I may, change this in March, but after watching her pay-per-view main event match against Billy Starks, I'm going with Athena.
That's who Jeffrey Sills in the chat went with.
Yeah, I've been watching Ring of Honor. I've been catching up on it. And her minions in training that she does with Billy Starks and Lexi Nair has been outstanding. There's still little things that I'm not the biggest fan of, right? When she dresses up like Bane or has some fucking wings that fall in it. Okay. But I'm the king or queen shit around here and you guys are all going to fall in line. I kind of like it.
So I need to watch more ROH now that's kind of up and running again. I haven't seen much of this Athena thing. So for me, it was a no-brainer, and it's Rhea Ripley. I feel like, as we said, Judgment Day is a main storyline. Mm-hmm. She helped get Dominic over in large part. She's, the world champion, whichever one, I don't know, whatever the hell they call those things over there now, their titles, but she's one of them. And just featured very prominently, right? And I mean, is big time, I'm sure, a big merch moneymaker for them. I'm going to give the nod to Rhea Ripley because it just felt like her year.
Yeah, that's hard to argue. My only gripe, and we've said this, especially when we were still trying on WWE, the payoff. You can't have a payoff if you're not going to say men and women aren't going to fight. So when she does the stare down with Solo Sikoa, it falls a little flat because I'm like, I know you're not going to hit her and I know she's going to hit you and you're just going to have to bite your tongue kind of thing. But her dominance over the women's division, the WrestleMania match that she had with Charlotte Flair was one of the best women's matches of the year. So yeah, definitely a good pick in Rhea Ripley, but just that little gripe I have of like, oh, you want to hit me? And I'm like, yes, but I can't.
Yeah, God damn it. Right. Yeah, right. Tag team of the year. This one was tough for me because I feel like tag teams have fallen off, especially the last half of the year. So it's almost tag team of the half year for me, and I'm going with FTR because for me, if you look at all the big tag team moments, you'll see FTR in it way more than you'll see anybody else. And so for me, it was FTR.
Same here. Same with my pick. And I agree with you because like last year you could have said the Acclaimed because of the superstardom, rise that they took on. Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland last year were great. FTR obviously was great. Usos were in their main dominance as champions. So yeah, 2022 was like, holy shit, I could pick 15. This year it's like, well, should I pick Sting and Darby? I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was like the sex gods, did they?
Yeah.
Like, I don't, yeah.
But when you consider some of the stories that they told, the who's the best tag team of all time with the Young Bucks at Wembley that I keep mentioning, their 2 out of 3 falls with Juice Robinson and Jay White is one of the greatest matches of all time. And then again, another bit of prisoner of the moment. And I know this is a 6-man and not a traditional tag team, but when they team up with Jay Briscoe to take on the BCC at Final Battle, that was outstanding as well. Excuse me, Mark. Yes.
Right.
It was in Jay's honor. Yeah.
Right. But they even did the dog collar matches this year.
Oh yeah. The dog collar. Yeah. Dog collar matches was fucking incredible. Yeah. So it's FTR 100%.
So what do you got for feud of the year?
I think I'm going to go out of left field. I don't know if you all are going to agree with this, but I will die on this hill. I'm okay with it. The feud of the year for me in 2023 is Jon Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page. I fucking loved every beat of this fucking story. From the Jon Moxley's the champion, I'm going to challenge him in his hometown. What? You say Cincinnati loves him more than me? Okay. Legitimately gets knocked out, comes back, can't get cleared. I'm going to fuck this guy up. Finally gets cleared, fucks him up. They do another one. Moxley wins with a roll up. Well, fuck that shit. We ain't letting it go down this way. Then the interviews Hangman's doing with Renee, and Renee's trying to stay professional. And he's like, I hate your fucking husband. And like the shit she had to take. And then I know we'll talk about other Texas death matches, most likely, but their Texas death match was outstanding. Forks to the head, cinder blocks to heads, all this crazy shit. I mean, it was my half year award match of the year. And when I reviewed and kind of thought of like what I was the most into, it was Moxley versus Hangman.
Yeah. So I struggled with this one because my two favorite wrestler based storylines, I don't know that you're really going to call them a feud yet, but I want to say the bromance was my favorite feud because again, that was leading to a match. Right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And there was tension. It was like, are they friends or are they not? So to me, that was a feud. So to me, I'm penciling that in. But if you tell me I can't do that, then I'm going to claim MJF versus the Devil because it's just so like gripping. Now, unfortunately, we haven't, it could deliver lame. So I didn't want to necessarily name that as the feud of the year because it's kind of not over. But for me, it was the bromance, right? And it pulled up, friendship wins through a curveball. But I was just like, man. Yeah, so I thought that was really good, the bromance.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I applaud the guts it takes to go with that decision. I applaud the execution of it didn't come up lame. I still love every beat of that story because I don't think it's over, right? The bromance is still kind of TBD as Adam
it might be the
out.
same. It might still be happening, right? It might
exactly,
still be going on. It led into MJF versus the Devil at least and could very well be part of the same storyline, 100%. This could be one of the longest running storylines we've ever had, honestly, if they play it that way.
Absolutely love that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So for my match of the year, I'm going with that 60-minute Iron Man match of MJF and Danielson at Revolution. To me, that just the storyline building up to that and just the way they played that one out. And again, it feels like we are prisoners of the moment because we feel like, man, we saw the best dog collar match of all time, the best Iron Man match of all time, two best Texas death matches of all time. But I don't think that's wrong either, right? Like, I think they were that good, and this was amazing. One of the best Iron Man matches, if not the best one I've ever seen.
Yeah, I will, again, give that so much praise in the sense that it's hard to keep someone's attention for an hour, especially in 2023 when we've got every device that we could also look at while having this on. Yeah. And for them to be as gripping and as engaging with the audience at home and on TV was amazing. And then the finish of going into overtime, the hit to the head on Bryan Danielson. And then, like I mentioned, Bryan Danielson's post-match promo where he's like, maybe MJF is right. Maybe I should go see my daughter. And motherfucker. Yeah, that was a home run all around. That was definitely a great match of the year. So I am going to go. Yeah, so I am going to go. I just mentioned the Texas death match with Hangman and Jon Moxley. Now, again, I will still argue that that is a better story than my match of the year. But when my match of the year makes my wife put the book down that she's reading and goes, hey, can they end this? Because it's making me feel uncomfortable. You got something going. Right? Because she can tolerate a lot. She loves scary movies. The first time I ever came to her house, the movie that she had on was some lady naked being cut from the throat, bleeding out. So it's that kind of stuff that she's into. And this match made her go, get the fuck out of here. But Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Adam Page, Texas death match with the fucking instant, like, I'm going to shoot a nail gun or a staple gun into your body at all different parts. And then for Swerve to then take that and go like, oh yeah. But then for Swerve Strickland, like, oh yeah, no, this hurts, but I'm going to just do it to myself because fuck you. And then, like you said, Hangman drinking the blood. And then, yeah, the reason it's not the feud of the year for me is because I felt like it was a touch rushed. I felt like it was, well, Swerve Strickland wants Hangman's spot. Okay. And then, well, I guess now Swerve wants to kill his kid. How the fuck did we get here? Right. So it felt a little rushed in comparison to the Moxley Hangman, but the match was just fucking bonkers. And Hangman won by hanging John Moxley, and that one looked hard as shit. But this one where it goes over the ring post is a different angle, which is even harder to like, I'm not actually choking. Fantastic
Great
match.
There. So that's our year-end awards. Feel free to hit us up if you thought we missed something, being stupid, let us know, or just to tell us how great and genius we were on them, whichever you prefer. But
we got Michael Carter in the chat saying Kenny versus Ospreay 2. Jeffrey Sills also saying, I think Jeffrey Sills is saying Kenny versus Ospreay at the Big Egg. I think he's talking about the first match in New Japan, which also was very good. For me, and this is, again, wrestling's big enough to where you guys can love those matches. I can love my matches, people like Rio, and all in between. The first match of the two, I like a little bit better because the second one with Don Callis being told to leave the ring, and then he's like, yeah, but I'm back. And then influencing the match, I thought was kind of dumb.
Yeah.
So of the two, I like the first one. And this is just me, again, splitting hairs. But I think from Kenny Omega, one thing that I need is a little bit faster of a start. I'm getting a little exhausted of we're feeling each other out. Here's a move. And then we're building. And that's fine, right? Some matches deserve that. But some matches deserve Bill Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar, and it's fucking spamming finishers. You know what I mean?
We talked about this a lot where everybody's like, oh, this would be a dream match, and this would be a dream match, and this would be a dream match. I'm like, guys, dream matches are for video games. But it feels like that culture turns into this like, okay, so now we've got it, right? Now we've got Ospreay versus Omega, the dream match everybody wanted. So now we have to do this, like you said. Oh, I do a thing and you counter it. So I do a thing and you counter it. And now we stare at each other with cautious respect, right? While the crowd, fucking miss me with that already, right? Can we fight?
Yeah,
can we fucking fight here?
It was good. Yeah, it was good to a certain extent, but yeah, when it's especially guys in that kind of have the same style or wrestled around each other long enough, because I'll give you, let's hypothetically say, I will give you if Triple H came over to AEW and wrestled Orange Cassidy and they're like, what the fuck is this? Both of them don't know what to do, right? Those are two completely different styles mashing up. I get it. But when it's like, well, Ospreay kind of does the same moves that Kenny does, so why would he be so shocked that he's doing them? You know what I mean? And also, I need a little bit more. I'll let you get to your point because I know you got something, but one thing I just want to wrap up on my point with kind of the matches of Kenny Omega and others like him. I'm using him as the example, but it's also Will Ospreay and so many more. Is like, I don't need you to struggle with every opponent, right? If you're saying you're the best, I need you to fucking kick the shit out of some people. I don't need you to having to do a dragon sleeper fucking cornchata from the top rope. Like, you should beat this fucking guy that's never held a title and has a losing record in AEW. You know what I mean?
Seeing prime Triple H, like Evolution Triple H versus like right prior to International Champion Orange Cassidy, full pockets Orange Cassidy would have been an amazing match. Yeah, like it would have been so like Triple H would have sold against that so well, like just with the anger and the annoyance and stuff like that would have been good stuff. If you could,
Jeffrey
if you could
Sills
ever make
also
that
had
happen.
one. Also had a match that we were actually at, Tim. But Vikingo versus Kenny Omega. We saw that fucking spinning 360 Sonic the Hedgehog move that Vikingo did on Kenny Omega right in front of us.
If he would have botched that, he might have landed on us.
Well, I think a splitter kind of hit me in the head, which, by the way, we'll get into World's End and Dynamite. But the fucking front row last night when Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho were breaking those paintings, the glass was going into the crowd. They're like, hey, what the fuck? I don't know. It was great. Oh, yeah.
Michael Carter suggested Orange Cassidy versus Hollywood Rock. Yeah, that would be some good stuff, too.
That would be fun,
a good one. All right, so let's get into World's End is coming up, right? Oh.
Well, hold on. This leads to something that may be fun. Give us either in the chat, and we'll read it during the podcast, or send it to us at what's the email for people to reach us at, by the way?
Oh, it's aewrapup@gmail.com.
AE wrap up. Send us maybe your favorite what the fuck kind of matches. For example, Orange Cassidy versus Hollywood Rock. Send us that if you got anything.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
And send it to us on Threads as well if you want.
Yeah, let's start WTF Wrestling Federation.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Do weird ass matches. All right, so we've got an AW pay-per-view coming up. World's End And we've got, I think, 10 matches or something like that on the card that we've got so
gonna,
far. They'll have more.
And for those that are listening on the podcast, we're recording this on a Thursday night. As always, with Tony Khan, God love him. He's probably going to add 42 matches on Saturday's Collision that we won't pick because it's not Saturday. So if you're listening to this Saturday morning or Sunday morning, whatever it is, and you're like, well, they didn't talk about this match, it's because we didn't fucking know about it. So,
and as such, since I won the last pay-per-view predictions game, Tom is currently wearing his favorite shirt, Jeff Jarrett on it. He's very happy about that. And we're going to make some predictions, and I'll win again, and Tom will have to wear the shirt on the next episode, the very first episode of the All Elite Wrap-Up.
We're 1-1, okay? You haven't ran away with anything. You bought this shirt. It had to go to your house, okay? So you wore it first.
Yeah. It's already paying dividends. All right. So next week, when we are the All Elite Wrap-Up, when we go through the brand name change, we'll be there to discuss these picks, and we'll go over that. And we'll see that Tom lost, and he'll be wearing the shirt, and we'll go all over all that. But we got to remember that I got to pick a tiebreaker match here at the end, right? All right. 20-man battle royal. I don't think we know who's in this thing. So do you just want to throw a random guess, or do we just want to say it's going to happen and just talk about it? The winner's going to get a TNT title shot.
Okay, random guess. The winner gets a TNT title shot.
Mm-hmm.
Could be at a Dynamite, could be at a Collision, could be at a pay-per-view. Anytime they want. I am going to go with someone who's not also on the card. So no Powerhouse Hobbs.
Right.
Anyone like that. To the best of my knowledge, I don't think Orange Cassidy is in anything, so it could be him. But he's the international champion, so that doesn't make sense.
Okay.
So I would go. Ooh, no, but he might be the devil. I'm gonna go with who's a good mid-card TNT that would. It's got to be a heel. Well, kind of giving away another pick. Got to be a heel, I would think. I'm going to say, there it is. I'm going to say Takeshita. Or is he in the match? He's not in the match, right?
He's not in the match. No, he's not.
It's Powerhouse.
Right. Mm-hmm. So you're going to say Takeshita?
Yeah. Because who's in the 6-man or the 8-man? Because it's Sting, Darby, Sammy, Chris Jericho versus Hobbs, Ricky, Big Bill, and then who's the other guy?
Fletcher.
Okay, so then yes, I'm going Takeshita on the battle royal. That's who I'm going with.
So I don't necessarily think it needs to be a heel if we're not giving away. It could be even depending on who wins that match. But I think it's just going to be. I think the TNT champion is going to retain against this winner. So I think they're just going to give somebody they think they want to put in that match. And I think we're going to come up with somebody like a Vikingo or a Commander, right? They're going to win this crazy battle royal. So I'm going to go with. In fact, I'm going to say Vikingo.
I like it.
Yep. That's what I think, right? Like we're saying, middle card guy. They'll be like, oh, yeah, sure, right? They're going to throw him in the match, and then he's going to lose.
Well, let's check out the chat real quick while you guys kind of join along. Jeffrey Sill says Jay White. Not a bad pick. Good heel. Could go up against an Edge or a Christian Cage. Right. Yeah, I like that pick as well.
Well, we have an FTW rules match for the FTW title. And I guess I'll go first since you went first on the last one. We got Hook versus Wheeler Yuta. I think Hook's going to win. I don't think we're getting rid of the FTW title off Hook, albeit you could have something start here where Hook now has to chase Yuta, but we already did. Hook had to chase the FTW title. So I think we're just going to get Hook. It's going to help put Hook over. We make Hook look like a badass against Yuta because he's a tough guy now. And Hook.
I think Hook as well, because I think what we could get out of this as a payoff is then Yuta says, well, fuck your rule set. We know that real people wrestle under pure championship rules. And then at the next Ring of Honor pay-per-view, we do a pure championship match between
title.
Yeah, we could do Yuta versus Hook title for title, because Hook could be like any rule set this championship can, go with. So I got Hook for this one to get Yuta to bait him into the next one.
Well, next up we've got Andrade El Idolo versus Miro, and I think that's Miro. I don't think Miro's losing to Andrade here, unless CJ Perry costs him the match somehow. But I think we're gonna get Miro wins.
I am going Andrade. I think CJ Perry does the I've been the loving wife. Hey, I just want to, accomplish some goals. Hey, fuck you, Miro. I'm going to accomplish my goals and get the fuck out of here. And then we get scorched earth Miro, who might kill the entire Collision roster.
He might. He very well might.
Yeah.
All right, now we've got the 8-man tag. Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Sting and Darby versus Ricky Starks, Big Bill, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Kyle Fletcher in a clusterfuck of how this got together last minute, but whatever. Right, we're here. It's what we're going to do. And Team Sting wins this, right?
Sting never loses.
Yeah.
Sting never loses. So Sting gets the victory over Kyle Fletcher. I will say, though, it was cool to see Darby Allin back. I know we talk about the pillars and kind of are they underwhelming and all that, but MJF is obviously like the star of the four. But Darby Allin does have a presence that when he comes back, you're like, oh, shit's about to get crazy. I agree with you. This came about a little bit kind of weird. The thing I think I like the least is how Sammy and Jericho are just, we're BFFs again. It's fine. Didn't like that. And I also didn't like that Sammy was like, oh, I'm going to beat you up because you didn't call me. It's like he made a painting for you. Like, it was really good, too. Those paintings were awesome.
That was a really good painting. I like those paintings. Look at the one behind us. Look how good that one is.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's got a good painter.
Who does that, the woman who does that, I follow on Instagram, and she posts all of her paintings after after they show it on the TV show. The one with Callis and Hobbs is the best one. I don't know. The one with Fletcher and Callis where they're knocking out kangaroos. Yeah, that's also really the one, good.
Like with Takeshi when he's got tattoos for no reason. Even Taz called that out. He's like, oh, he lost the tattoos.
Yeah, they were all great. I think if I were to pick one, I think I am going Fletcher and Callis knocking out kangaroos, but man, they're all very strong. It's so weird choices.
To me that we don't get more Don Callis than we get.
We need it. Yeah, we need it.
He's so good. All right, we have a TBS title match. Julia Hart is going to defeat Abaddon, right? There's no...
Yeah.
How's Abaddon going to out-spooky the spooky folks? This feels weird, right? I feel like we hadn't seen Abaddon hardly much, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh yeah, and title shot. And we're just like,
yeah.
All right.
Well, Julia Hart was doing the thing of like, I'm following you. And Abaddon's like, all right, then, bitch. It kind of gave me vibes. And I'm not comparing
you don't
these
want to follow
two.
Here.
Yeah. I'm not comparing these two to the legends that I'm about to say. I'm saying as far as vibes, right? It's a vibes that I'm getting. It feels like debuting Mankind going after Undertaker, where it's like, how are you going to be creepier than Undertaker, right? And Mankind's like, I'm gonna fucking try. And it feels like that, where it's like, how are you gonna be weirder than the House of Black Julia Hart? And Abaddon's like, well, I'm gonna try.
Because I am.
Think though, I think though that she just doesn't have the match quality that a champion kind of needs to be at. And so Julia Hart has that moonsault, and she's getting better each time. And she just added the assless one.
There's no story here with Abaddon as champ, and now Julia Hart on this rise of telling this story, so it just would make no sense. Yeah.
And she might be a new follower, right? You get the assless one, Sky Blue, and then Abaddon following Julia Hart, and she like conquers all these women, and they become part of her little squad.
I mean, you can't go wrong if you got some ass and Abaddon following you around, you know what I mean?
I tell you what, guys, these fucking... Look, I live...
Big fan of ass and Abaddon.
Well, yeah, I am. I will say this though. I post live on Threads, and then I kind of periodically will check in with some of our main contributors on Twitter. These guys, look, man, if a fucking bare ass is what's getting you to stay tuned to a wrestling match, you need to be watching porn and not pro wrestling, because that's not fucking that great. Again, it's cool to be attractive. I'm not saying like, oh, don't be attractive. What I'm saying though is, if the thing getting you over is I don't wear pants.
Well, have you guys ever heard too? Is like, look but don't stare, right? Like, like come on, chill out.
Yeah, but if you want to stare, there's some porn sites that'll let you stare.
There's some that want you to stare. Yeah, exactly. They do everything they can to get you to stare. Hit us up in the chat. We'll give you some. All right. We'll give you some of our favorites.
Got this great one. You love donkeys.
I'll tell you about this place I call the Hub. All right. All right. Another one that got thrown together weird, and I don't like how they did it. Swerve and Keith Lee.
So on Collision, as Keith Lee was beating up Shane Productions, and he kept on referring to him. But I do agree with you. Why all of a sudden now? Why wasn't it before Swerve?
Well, and he just dropped off a what's the word I'm looking for? A contract just in case you happen to lose this match and you'll be ready to that felt weird.
Yeah.
They could have just said, Keith asked for a match and now you don't have one. So do you want that? And it would have been like, fuck yeah, I want it.
Yeah. I did like how after Swerve lost the triple threat, he's like, oh, well, I have nothing to do. And I keep hearing someone calling my name. So if you call my name, I'm going to dance, right? I'm paraphrasing. I like that aspect. But yeah, then well, here's a contract. Well, where the fuck did the contract come from? And again, I think we needed this match, but it felt a little bit like a stopgap. If I got a little bit of if I'm looking backstage and I'm trying to predict, I think this may be a little bit of a stopgap until Swerve might go for something bigger. And so with that, I think I'm going. Keith Lee's fucking awesome. I do love Keith Lee. He is the X-Men beast of AEW, but I think I've got to go. Swerve can't lose twice in a row.
That's the deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see where Keith Lee gets the win and now Swerve's even crazier and now we focus that back in if we were going to do that again, but I don't have any indication that Keith Lee's running a long-term story of any kind right now. Mm-hmm. So I don't think we're going to do that. So I just think Swerve's going to win.
Oh, let me run this by you. Swerve wins. Okay. But the long-term story booking switches up. It's heel Keith Lee wanting to tear the house down of babyface Swerve Strickland.
I don't hate
and
that.
Now we get something like that. That could happen.
I don't hate that.
But yeah, I still think Swerve wins to then I do think this is a stopgap. I don't think this is going to be like a 6-month thing, but I do think we will get something more than just they wrestled once and then they never saw each other again. Right. So I think I got Swerve coming out on top on the first one.
So then in the no DQ TNT title, Cage versus Copeland. Who you got?
Adam Copeland.
You think Adam Copeland?
He can't lose. And this is why. He'd be in no man's land. There would be nowhere for him to go.
Well,
Christian is so strong that he could lose the next 30 matches, and he's got Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne and Nick Wayne's mom.
I just don't think we're done.
Bounce off.
I don't think we're done. And so my thought was I was going to pencil in, and in fact, I wrote it down, Adam Copeland by DQ. Christian Cage gets DQ, and then I would look again. I'm like, oh, no, it's a no DQ match. So I think we're going to get the he got a testicle twister and a nut punch and a choke slam, and somebody else screwed him over, and then now we're going to continue the feud, right? This ain't over, Christian, while Christian's out there on Dynamite gloating over his big victory.
No. I got it. I got it. Because let's go back to Dynamite last night real quick, right? So we've got Christian sitting there waiting for minutes on end for Adam Copeland to show up. Who's Christian with? He's with Nick Wayne, the Prodigy, and Nick Wayne's mom. You know who's not there? Luchasaurus. Luchasaurus then says, you motherfuckers never called me. Does a Sammy Guevara kind of thing. And then Nick Wayne goes through the thing. Christian goes through the thing. At the mom. The mom fucking
scares the mom. Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then Adam Copeland wins. Then Christian says, me and the Prodigy are going to take out you two. And then we'll do some tag match stuff like that. But I still think Adam Copeland needs a title to get.
We'll see.
Look, let's be honest. Edge, Adam Copeland is fucking cool, right? But he's not like a needle mover, right? He can't just show up and everyone is in it, right? So he needs to be doing something.
I don't catch a lot of people being like, I got to buy tickets to go see Edge tonight. It's like,
right. It's awesome that he's there. That's another reason why I'm going, but it's not the sole reason, right?
Right.
And so I think he needs something. And if he just loses to Christian, man, then you've got just nothing going on after that. And that's why I think a Takeshita, a Don Callis versus Adam Copeland thing could be next for him. Yeah, you could go some fun places with it.
That's cool. You're going to wear that shirt. All right, women's world title match. Toni Storm, timeless Toni Storm versus Riho. And we could probably say it together. Timeless Tony Storm.
Timeless Tony Storm.
Match. Yeah.
1,000,000%.
No way in hell Rio gets this. Maya May would have to cause it, maybe. Or what's her name? Mariah
May.
Yeah.
Mariah May. So this is what I think happens. So we got the announcement on Dynamite that Mariah May will be making her in-ring debut in 2024, because 2023 is just ew. And it's against someone on the AEW roster. Well, she gets ran down by Rio. So I think Mariah May does something to Rio where Timeless Tony Storm wins, being completely oblivious that Mariah May helped her. But Rio knows what the fuck happened. And then next week on Dynamite, it is Rio versus the in-ring debut of Mariah May.
All right, in the Continental Classic Finals, Moxley versus Kingston for the Triple Crown. The Continental Classic Championship, the ROH World Title, and the New Japan, what is it, Strong Openweight? Fucking, I forget what they call it.
Yeah. I will say this one quick thing about the Timeless Tony Storm thing. If she loses, I will go to Daly's place and fucking demand someone tell me what the fuck is going on in AEW.
Yeah.
That would be
that
would be a worse decision than letting CM Punk just have any influence on your TV show. Like, what the fuck are you doing if you ruin this Timeless Tony Storm?
Bad decision.
Anyhow,
so who's winning the Continental Classic?
Goddamn, Tim. This one might be the hardest one to pick. I'm being dead.
It is the absolute hardest one to pick. And like I could pick either way and feel confident and completely non-confident in my answer.
Yeah.
Either way is a great story told. Man, I don't know. What do you got?
I'm going for this reason alone as the deciding factor. It's in New York. And if it was anywhere else, it'd be Jon Moxley. But I think in New York, you're going with Eddie Kingston. I think Eddie Kingston overcomes. I'm the king of the underdogs. I'm the king of the bums. I think that will be the prevailing force that gets him over. And I think Jon Moxley, again, has been someone that he could lose 30 matches. He could win 60 matches. And he's always the ace of the world, bitch. And I think the story that we're going to tell after Eddie Kingston overcomes Moxley is when Kingston was at his lowest, he then came over his three biggest hurdles in his career: Claudio, Danielson, Moxley. Like, those are the three biggest hurdles in his wrestling career. That's the story that's told.
Yeah, you're probably right. And sitting here in this moment, if I didn't already write it down, I probably would have said the same thing. But I wrote it down already, and since we don't have a lot of things different, I'm going to go with Jon Moxley, because I think it is that Kingston just gets so close again, and I think he's going to be in his head. But even Jon Moxley will be trying to tell him, and his other friends, like, dude, this isn't much different. Like, you had the 2 titles of the Triple Crown. You just didn't win the final match. Like, you are the star. Like, you are as good as you think you are. You just lost a match. Win some, lose some, pal. Like, it's all right. And he's like, no, you don't fucking get it, dog. Right? Like, and he won't let it go. And he's crazy. And then I think you could even steer him away from that. He could start going after a world title or a different title just because he's, you know what I mean, got on a path because, like, no, man, like, you're like you say it's fine because you're not my head dog. Like, he's out. Yeah, he's just not there.
Which, by the way, let's talk about that real quick. I told you, when I was putting together my end of the year awards list here, I almost legitimately wrote Bryan Danielson versus Eddie Kingston from last night's Continental Classic. That match was outstanding, but so was the promo afterward, where Jon Moxley was like, you act like everyone hates you, but I only hear everyone cheering
Everybody
you.
loves you, man. Yeah.
And he's just like, God damn it. Like, you don't tell me that, right? And then Moxley's like, I know you better than you know you. You know that you're going to quit on yourself. And then for Eddie Kingston to be like, hey, remember who broke you in, bitch? I'm the fucking senior of the two of us. And I'm not your little bitch boy Yuta. So you better bring your fighting spirit. And then he names all of his heroes, and that just contrast of like I'm going to bring it, and then Eddie Kingston to essentially say like, well, yeah, so am I, but not just say it so corny, was fucking fantastic. I loved it. If you watch the promo that Eddie Kingston cuts on the social media channels of AEW, where he has both of his shoulders iced and stuff, he starts to fucking tear up talking about why he's going to win this. God bless America. Fucking love it. Love it.
And then the world title is on the line with MJF and Samoa Joe. So backtrack to Dynamite here. The masked men become the ROH tag title champions, which whatever. Again, we discussed like, how the fuck is that a thing? These people don't even work for the company. Who signed the contract to fight for this match?
Right.
Who did the athletic commission clear? Like what?
Exactly.
What is going on?
Well,
here?
that's a really good call out for this reason. If we've heard the rumors and read the tea leaves, it's QT Marshall leaves because lack of pro wrestling. They're going to sports themed, storytelling. Well, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, what is
Who
this?
the fuck are these guys? They just put a handprint or something? Like, what the fuck?
You got some stage hands winning the goddamn tag
what the
titles
fuck
here.
is this?
But the Samoa Joe screws him over. Pleasure doing business with you. And that even fits in the storyline. Samoa Joe just said, I'm going to make sure you get to the thing. I got you there. I didn't say you'd still have tag team titles. Worked out well for me. Got you there. The devil said he wasn't going to fuck with you enough to, to make sure you make the match. But yet we're still taking something from you. I'm fine with that. I got paid. And now I'm going to steal your title. That all feels great and on brand for Samoa Joe. So I think we can eliminate Samoa Joe as the devil.
Yes.
But who wins this match? I think MJF wins the match for one. Like, he wins. Yeah. I think he's still the champ afterwards. I don't think we get a reveal on who the devil is quite yet.
Ooh, Tim, you don't think we get the reveal?
No, not yet. I think they're still stringing it out.
All right, hold on. Let's take a quick step back, though. Because we got to play the game until they tell us who it is. Tim, this week, who is the devil?
Still think it's Adam Cole. I like a thing you brought up where you were like, what if the Kingdom was involved in it and Roddy Strong doesn't know that? Like, what if they keep getting in his head that it's MJF is the devil? It's MJF, but it's Adam Cole, and they're working with Adam Cole.
Yep. I mean, that's a great idea, because then you have a secondary person that also hates the devil. Because in my opinion...
And this guy we're all behind right now, right?
Yeah. Oh, love him, right? He's the Adam. We're all doing it. We're wearing neck collars, all the stuff. But one thing that makes a great babyface or heel, in my opinion, has always been layered stories. And for example, when MJF had Samoa Joe, the devil, Jay White, and all that, like, that was captivating, right? So then if the devil comes in and already it's MJF, Roddy Strong, say Samoa Joe loses, he hates the fucking deal he made with the devil. It's Samoa Joe. Now you all of a sudden have this like layered story walking right in.
Yeah, I think we'll see the devil. I think the devil will cause a scene. I think it will ultimately cost Samoa Joe by happenstance. MJF will like get one out. And then so we didn't get a reveal, right? But we know it's not Samoa Joe. We may know it's not somebody else because maybe Adam Cole's in peril and MJF has to be a hero, right? Maybe we play that, right? That kind of thing. So I think we'll see him. I think we'll get a furthering of the storyline, him or her, but I don't think we'll get the reveal yet, and therefore I don't think Samoa Joe is the guy to take the title off MJF, and so I think MJF still wins.
I think MJF still wins, but I think we get the reveal of the devil. I think we get the reveal of the devil, and I think we get the reveal of whoever the tag champs are. So I'm gonna one up it here, right? This is how I think it goes down. I think we get a straight up match between Samoa Joe, MJF, right? I think a couple masked men may jump up on the apron. MJF fights him off real quick, turns his attention to Samoa Joe, misses a finisher. You know what I'm saying? Bing, bing, boom. We get MJF hits his heat seeker or something like that, gets the diamond ring, hits Samoa Joe, beats him. And then the devil is like, fuck this, okay? Samoa Joe is just someone I made a deal with. I don't give a fuck about him. He's out, right? And then I think the tag champs, who I think are the Kingdom, fucking go in there and they start taking out MJF. And then you have Adam Cole run down. Because I think look, I said Jack Perry, and I actually like the idea of Jack Perry more, but I'm not going to be one of these assholes where it's like, if it wasn't my idea, it sucked. I don't give a shit. I think Adam Cole hobbles down, whatever he does, gets down to the ring, right? He may be able to run at this point. Who knows, right? He may do the Aaron Rodgers treatment that he doesn't fucking share with anyone. Isn't that fucking great? This cocksucker guy has Achilles healed quicker than anyone in the fucking world, but he won't tell one fucking
broken.
step he did. Well, but he tells no one the fucking steps, as if Kirk Cousins, who also did the same thing, wouldn't want to know the information. Fuck you, Aaron Rodgers. Anyway, back to this. Adam Cole comes down.
Yeah, even if you aren't lying and you have some miracle cure for an Achilles heel, you're holding it from others, you sick fuck.
That's what I'm saying. Fuck you either way.
What about some old lady who needs to get around, you motherfucker?
Yeah, he's a fucking... And then the other thing, and we'll get back on track, but quick sidetrack too. The other thing, and I'm not this guy's fan, but I do know his work ethic when he was with us, but the idea that Aaron Rodgers could outwork Kobe fucking Bryant, who also tore his Achilles, go fuck yourself. You are such a self-involved prick who I hope no one loves you. I hope you fucking look in a dark room and only feel sadness, you piece of shit. Anyhow, so Adam Cole will make his way down the ring, and I think he'll do I'm going to be here for MJF, and then turn kind of like what Joe did, but in a little bit more dramatic way, and then turns his attention to MJF. And then we've got Adam Cole and the Kingdom standing over MJF. And then on Wednesday's Dynamite, this is where I think it would be fun, where you start off with Roderick Strong, kind of like how he had that Always Sunny board. Yeah. And he's like, Adam. And he's, it doesn't match up. Adam, you know. And then the Kingdom is like, hey, what's up, Roddy? And he's like, why didn't you tell me? And they take him out, right? And then
stomp on his neck.
Well, here, you want to go one step farther, Tim?
Yeah.
I got this all written out.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So the Kingdom is like, hey, man, you were the dead weight of this. You're out, right? Roderick Strong gets
neck
beat
ain't
up.
strong.
Yeah. They put the fucking conspiracy board on top of him, right? Whatever. Then you get 2 weeks, right? You got to sell the injury. 2 weeks later, you get Roddy coming out. Adam, right? Still, he doesn't come out. Kingdom comes out. He's like, good. Actually, I was wanting to talk to you too. And guess who's standing behind them as they get face to face? It's Kyle Riley. And Kyle Riley and Roderick Strong face the Kingdom for the ROH Tag Team Championship.
Are they selling neck braces yet? I need to see the
but they have
crowd
the neck
full
strong,
of neck braces, right? They just say strong across the neck.
Yeah.
Come on.
They should. Yeah, that's just, a perfect idea.
You can see the whole crowd, especially if he flips in this situation, or they can just say Adam across the neck.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Strong would be fun, but yeah, Adam would also be fun. Hey, they got an opening for a new merchandise person. If you read the news about that, Matt Jackson's
marketing
wife,
and exactly.
Yeah, marketing and merchandise, so maybe you can apply for that. But yeah, so I think MJF prevails over Samoa Joe, but then the devil has had enough. It's Adam Cole. It's the Kingdom. There you go. I still think it should be Jack Perry, though. I still think it should be Jack Perry, because whenever that asshole comes back, he's just going to get drowned out with CM Punk chants. And he doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve it, but it's going to fucking suck. So.
He needs to put glass breaking into his music now, right? Like he needs to.
Oh, yeah, like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yes. Like that has to be his trademark from now on. Yeah. He has to work glass into every, outside the ring match he does. Like it has to be his thing. Mm-hmm. It's glass.
Yeah. Oh yeah, just glass shatters and
It's always glass, no matter what. He'll bring a glass thing and hit people with it. It's got to be his thing
every fucking time.
Old Jack Glass, baby.
Old Jack Glass.
That was the 2003 year that was in wrestling. That was the predictions, or 2023, excuse me. 2006 is going to be my year.
I forgot about it.
So fun. All right. So that was that. That was also the Spanish announce table. Tom,
what a good memory. That's the way this show should go out, right there.
Yeah. Gotta find that clip somewhere. All right, so that was also the Spanish Announce Table. Stay tuned next week for All Elite Wrap Up, the new rebrand. We are All Elite Wrap Up. We will be talking All Elite. Again, we will talk WWE and GCW and anything else with you that you ask us about, but we primarily focus on All Elite Wrestling, and we want the folks that find us online to know that more immediately.
Yes, 100%. So we have broke the Spanish Announce Table, and we will become reborn as All Elite Wrap Up.
The Spanish Announce Table.